Are you coming? Yeah, come on. Hello and welcome to the Mad About You YouTube channel. I'm Madeleine, I'm your host. I'm joined by Finn down here, and welcome to episode 80 something. Don't know what I'm doing. Oh, there's another cat. Let's try this again. Hello and welcome to the Mad About You YouTube channel. I'm your host Madeleine. This is my corner of the internet where I talk about knitting, sewing, crochet, cross stitch occasionally, and yeah, what I've been making. If you are new, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. I would just like to start by making an acknowledgement of country. I come to you today on the land of the Gubbi people of the Sunshine Coast, and I pay my respect to elders past, present, and emerging. It is the Monday afternoon on the 28th of July 2025, and I've just come back from work. If you're new, I'm a high school teacher, and so I've gotten home. I wanted to record on the weekend, but I was working on some projects and I finally got them finished. So I finally wanted to have a finished object to share with you, and so we are recording now. It is 4:30, no, just gone 4:15, sorry. And yeah, this is basically what I made in June and July. I am in a new location. If you have noticed, I started to put together a little vlog series about redoing my craft room, and I haven't quite finished that because we're kind of halfway there, but I do have a new backdrop. I really love the whole setup, but it's actually not as good as I thought it was going to be for podcasting because you only get to see certain levels. But anyway, we'll talk about that shortly. I have some finished objects, a couple of works in progress, and I guess some just general life update stuff to go through. So let's get started. I have two finished objects to share today. They're both crochet projects, and I've just realized that the pattern book that I probably need to show you is over on the bookshelf, so let's pause. The finished projects that I have are my two little friends that you might be able to see here. They are crocheted animals from the Edwards Menagerie family. They are patterns by Kerry and they are designed to be made out of the Toft UK yarn. I have not ever used Toft UK yarn, mostly accessibility and price point because of that. But I have, until this Koala, exclusively used Morris & Sons Estate in their either 10, 12 or 14 ply. And this time I decided to try something different for a more affordable option. So if you're looking for a budget way to crochet something like this, keep listening. So the first one I'm going to show you is this one here. He's a koala. His name is Samuel the character. In the book, each animal gets a blurb about them. Samuel is found on page 60, and you need two colors, three, sorry. A medium color, which is your main color here, some dark scraps for the nose, and also some white scraps for the ears. I've just put his face on last night, but Samuel's been finished for a week or so now, maybe 2 weeks actually, and I've sewed them together. I realized that again, I haven't stuffed him enough, I don't think, in the middle section, but overall I'm pretty happy with him. I think he's quite cute. I probably sewed his head on a little bit too far back. It probably should be more like that, and to be honest, I could probably make that change. But these animals, why I like them, this is a gift for a friend of mine's baby. She is having her second child, and I made Eleanor the lab for her first baby. What I love about these animals is the way that they're constructed. They have a really big tummy and where their legs go, so they sit really nicely splayed like this, and then their arms usually sit on top. For a stuffy, I think they're pretty durable, like their arms and legs are sewn in really well so they can be loved. Or some people that I've given them to, they kind of just sit on a shelf, but I don't mind. They are definitely durable enough to be you know, tugged around and played with. So this is Samuel the Koala. Yeah, definitely think I probably could have stuffed him a bit more, but you don't want to overstuff them, so it's this fine line. So it's my first one. So my friend Grace and her upcoming baby. Okay, so that is Samuel the Koala. I still think he's cute. Something is a little bit off. I think extra stuffing, and maybe if his ears had been a bit more pinched. I don't know. The tricky thing, I guess, is that like there is a general way to stuff and sew the animals. And some have YouTube, like videos on YouTube tutorials, but Samuel didn't. And so I feel there's just something a bit, you know, maybe if I make his eyes closer together, they can be cut out. Anyway, he is done. My next one, I finished this one last night, is Germaine the Gorilla. There are a couple of different monkey, gorilla, chimpanzee patterns in this book. She is on, I'm having an epiphany. I'd set out to make Benedict the chimpanzee. To use yarn that I had in stash. So then once I had this kind of, it's called something rustic aubergine, so it's kind of like a purpley tinge. Now I'm remembering. I had to change, I had to pivot, and I ended up making Germaine. She's a level 2 animal, they both are. So that's her here. And yeah, Germaine the Gorilla, she's on page 42. I actually think this might be the cutest one that I've made so far. It was an absolute pain in the butt to sew together last night. I really struggled getting it right. I took her head off and on a couple of times. She's got the same classic body. I did stuff her a little bit more. Same, maybe not so much in the head. The muzzle I struggled with, because it is sewn separately, stuffed and then attached. But I just thought, like, looking on the sitting on the shelf that I had them in, taking photos yesterday. That would be such a cute photo if I could take a screenshot. I really like her. She doesn't have a tail, but she has these tufts on the top of her head. The arms are quite a bit longer than the legs, so that, you know, like, whatever. I just need to sew in these little end bits at the bottom, but essentially she has done 2. If you've been around for a long while, you know that I'm usually in a rush to finish these before, like, because the baby shower is happening or whatever. But this time, both of these babies are due in late October and I'm done. I'm probably seeing my friend Samuel's mum, sorry. My friend whose baby is going to be gifted Samuel, possibly this weekend, maybe next weekend. And she lives interstate. So that was kind of more of a time pressure, but then this one's actually for a work colleague. So yeah, that's where we're at for Ed's Animals and Finished Objects. I'm super stoked with how they look, and I want to make some cats next. I want to make 2 cats, like one that's Finn and one that's Isabeau, and make some for myself. And then I think, I say this every time, have one kind of like on reserve. Got one request coming through for a family member, and so that one is going to be the rhino. It's not my favorite, but that's, mum picked one for the first baby, dad has picked the one for the second baby. But I've also got some other ideas that I might find, and I'm also going to make some of the different Toft patterns. So I have Ed's Menagerie, which has 40 patterns, and I have the dogs, the book of dogs, and I've made one dog from that book. But I'm also going to buy the Sea Life book and make a shark, a hammerhead shark, and there's a couple of whales and stuff that are super cute. So if you can crochet and you wouldn't mind an Ed's Animal, I highly recommend the Kerry Lord patterns. Yeah. All right, other works in progress. All right, let's go with my Soldotna Crop. I have finished the yoke. Well, I'm ready for the sleeve separation. This pattern is by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks, and it would appear that I don't have a copy of the printed pattern in this bag. Don't know why. If I remember, I'll pop it up here on the screen somewhere. So I made this pattern once before. It had issues. I put the short rows in the wrong place. I've mentioned all of this, yada, yada, yada. But I also had issues with the fit and the neckline. So I didn't do the short rows and I didn't put the neck in. I just cast on, worked out what the first increase would be, and did the color work. I'm finished. I love my floats. I took a photo and put them on Instagram recently. So I think I'm pretty happy with the fit of this as well. I'm loving the colors. My next job is going to be to attach the neckline. And what I'm going to do is I did a provisional cast on. So I'm going to pick up that cast on. I think I will put some short rows, maybe like 3 or 4 short rows into the back. And then I'm just going to do a rib collar. This is a DK weight pattern. I'm holding all of the yarn double except this light blue, which is a Bendigo Woolen Mills. Meow. Hello. And yeah, I have tried it on with my barber cords or try-on cables, but obviously it's a little bit hard to kind of figure that out because the neck hasn't been put on. So I feel like before I separate for the sleeves, that's the step that I probably need to do next. So I really needed to get those animals sorted, and now that they're finished, I'm going to put some attention towards this, and I'm hoping for the best. The plan is that it will be oversized. My other one was too tight. I didn't wear it because it didn't really fit very well. But I've knit a bigger size this time. I actually gauge swatch, but anyway, my swatches usually lie. And it's color work, so that could be interesting. I'm not quite sure how that will go. But yeah, maybe once I get my school stuff done for tonight after we've recorded, I'll spend some time and I might attempt to put the neckline in so that I can actually separate for the sleeves. Because once I've done that, my big decision is, they're called the fleas, or like the flex in the body, or do I just do this main collar here? The weather is starting to warm up, so there's very little point in actually needing to wear this. So please ignore him. Finn! We are at the point where this meowing is incessant. It's like he wants to escape, but he's not allowed. Excuse you! He does go outside in the back courtyard, but he's whinging at the front door, wanting to go out the front, which obviously isn't going to happen. Anyway, that's my Soldotna progress. Hopefully next time I see you, we have a neck and we've separated for the sleeves. The only other thing is that the neck in the pattern, the neck ribbing is 1x1 rib, but the sleeves are 2x2 and the bind off like at the bottom is 2x2. So once I do the neckline and the short rows, I think I'm going to do 2x2 ribbing and probably just a small amount. My other option is I could do a rolled collar, but I don't know how I feel about that. So I think we're just going to put maybe like 3 or 4, probably 4 short rows in that back, raise that neckline up a little bit, do maybe an inch of ribbing on the top, and then hope for the best. Cool. All right, last work in progress. Yeah, that hasn't really been started as a work in progress. So it is what are we? We're in August. I really wanted to have this finished this year. I am hosting very badly a bougie blanket make along. I've talked about it before. And I've finished section 8, which is a bit of an achievement. If you have been following along, this blanket, or the plan was, let's knit a blanket with like yarn that you got on a special occasion. It doesn't have to be expensive, but for me it was a friend of an advent swap thing. And the pattern that I chose was the ZigZag Zen blanket by, I don't want to pronounce the designer's name wrong, so I will put that along the bottom here. Anyway, I don't maths very well. I teach English and history, and so when I planned this out, I got my minis, which is fine. I knew I would need 28 to make it at the biggest size, but I didn't realize that holding them double, obviously, I would need less. So we ran into that problem at the end of section 7, and I bought a 4-ply yarn from Bendigo Woolen Mills to marl from section 8 onwards. I don't love it, but I don't think it's awful, so I'm going to show you. All right, as you can see, the microphone isn't great when I put this in front of my face. I'm going to try and talk and show you. It's very saturated colors in this first section. We have this duck egg blue that's actually called Ghost as the like gray main color, and that's a Bendigo Woolen Mills in a 8-ply. And then I was holding a 4-ply that I got as part of my advent swap double. At the end of this purple section, I didn't run out. I had about this much left. I was playing yarn chicken. So then my knitting group helped me come up with the idea to buy a 4-ply in the other one and marl it. We will still hope for the best. And I think it turned out okay. So here it is. I will show you the original colours too. Okay. Oh no, I'm losing light. This, let's go to my face, is the original orange, and this is a Miss Babs like tonal multicolored, or variegated, sorry, not tonal. And I haven't weighed them, I should, and that is what is left after section 8. Oh, that's still attached. I haven't chopped that off yet. That would be why that's floating around. So I really like the construction of this blanket. My next little job will be to pick up and knit from this side here, and the yarns for that are over there, and I'm not going to pause this and go and get them, but I feel like based on the colors I'm probably going to go with one of the pink selection as my next addition, or the first lot will actually just be this 8-ply for those 8 rows, pearl bump rows, and then I'll probably go in with one of the pinks, I think, just for continuity. And then on the other side next to this will probably be some greens, and I will do that because this color here does have some green in it as well. So that's where we're at. Honestly, I think the original pattern has, oh geez, we're twisted, has 10 sections. I'm gonna go, my plan was to do all 14, sorry. The original pattern has 14 sections, but because it's modular in how it's created, you can add, basically you could stop at any point. I think this is slightly too small to stop now, so I will get it to section 10 and then make a decision. Ideally, I would use all of the yarn I've got and do 14, but also it's really slow going because it's so big at this point that I'm thinking, you know, we'll just play it by ear. But yeah, my priority, I think, in terms of what I'm knitting next is, it is Father's Day soon and I don't have a gift for my dad. So I cranked, right, new project. I cranked this tube on my Erlbacher Gear Heart Speedster sock machine. It is a 72 stitch tube. And I think, I don't know what I did there. Why have I got two? I can definitely make one pair of socks. They're a bit like bright or a bit loud, probably more loud than my dad would usually wear, but I think it will work. And it, if I do a contrasting toe and cuff, we should be right in terms of you know, fitting properly, because it was a small skein. Oh, or do I have a, I don't know, I need to think on that. Oh, we are losing light very quickly. All right, I do have another sock that is like partially cast on, I think. Also a tube that I I cranked on my circular sock machine. And I had started the ribbing again. And this is Circus Tonic handmade. And it was leftovers from a shawl that I pulled out. And as I knit the shawl, I had made mistakes, didn't wear it, and it just sat there for a long time. I frogged it, and the yarn was sitting off to the side for a long time, and I thought, you know what, let's just crank it, and I can make a lovely pair of socks for my mum or my sister or my grandma or someone. So I should take this and put this in my school bag for some lunchtime knitting. And yeah, let's do that. I can sit at my desk. So yeah, that is everything that I've been working on. Hello friends, dropping into my episode 2 weeks after it's been recorded because I wanted to start a new segment, an Aussie maker shout out spotlight, and I completely forgot last time. And I do have my first maker in mind, so I'm going to pop a screenshot of their Instagram over here in a moment. But the designer I'd like to shout out to you, she is a knitwear designer from Ballarat down in Victoria, and her name is Reegan. Her designer page is Reegan McAvaney Designs, but she also hosts a podcast called CowCat Creations, and at the moment she's actually hosting a knit along for her Goldfields collection. So there are quite a few patterns in that collection. I've not yet cast any on because I'm, as we know, slowly working through my whip pile, but I am quite intrigued by the beanie pattern. So what I thought I'd do is I'd show you on my iPad. I probably should just screenshot them and insert them for you, but anyway, let's try with the iPad. If that doesn't work, we'll head over to that section. So there's a beanie here called the Goldfields beanie. There are a pair of mitts, which has the same eyelet and cable motif pattern. And we also have a cowl. I'm just gonna show you that there. It's such a beautiful golden color. So yes, Reegan has a podcast over here on YouTube at Cat Cow Designs, or Cat Cow Podcast, sorry, and she has her designer page. It's Reegan McAvaney. I don't know if I pronounced that right because we've only messaged on Instagram, but I will put that down below as well, and I will link everything in the descriptions. But if you are interested in knitting with Aussie makers or Aussie designers, that'd be awesome if you could go check that out, and I'm sure at some point I will have one of those beanies on my needles. Another thing, I've got a few other spotlight designer makers in mind that I might like to shout out coming in the future, but if you think of anyone that you think would be great to shout out to my viewers, please send me a message, either comment below here, that'd be handy, or send me a message on Instagram. It's probably the best option. Okay. I did start to vlog my school holidays, which were in week 3 already back at school, and I had like maybe a couple of days worth of content, but my grandfather, my papu, my dad's dad, passed away very early into the holidays, and so I just ended up in Victoria or Melbourne for the funeral, and it didn't feel right to record. I brought my camera, but it just wasn't the time or place, and I was just really enjoying being with family. And then I got home from that, and this arrived, so I put that together. So I will do the vlog about making my craft room, putting it together once I finish this side of what's over there. But then I got really sick with a cold that knocked me out for like 4 days, and I sounded horrific. So we didn't do much on the holidays, and it was just going to be sad and boring. So let's try again for the Christmas holidays, maybe Vlogmas, sort of some situation, possibly. No, we don't promise ourselves these things because I'm very bad at following through. What are we at? 22 minutes. All right, nice, hopefully short episode. So that is where we're at now. It is term 3 back at school. I have my line manager, or my head of humanities, is going on some long service leave later this term, and so several of us interviewed for his contract for while he's away, and I was lucky enough to, well, I earned it, I guess. I had the interview last week and found out last Thursday that the position is mine for 6 weeks while he's away. So that will be a good, challenging, different experience, getting to exercise that management muscle that I haven't had to use for a long while. In a different field, so I'm excited but a little bit apprehensive. I guess that means that I'll probably be on my once every 2 months filming schedule. Excuse you! I'm just gonna try and ignore that. No one's being too vicious. Yeah, so you'll hear from me at the end of the term probably. And then I'm going to Japan and South Korea with my sister and my cousin. So no holiday vlogs, no school holidays. So that's all very exciting, but a little bit nerve-wracking. I've really been just like any crafting time that I've had, I've been working on my crochet animals, but now that they're done, I really do want to get stuck into finishing a couple of these things, particularly, you know, and I guess like making sure that I give myself time to craft. I've been really good at being overwhelmed by life and just not doing anything or reading, but I've got a bunch of non-fiction books I need to read for work as well, or I want to read for work and school, so that's going to take up some time too. I think that's kind of it really. I don't have anything outstanding that I've been reading to talk to you about. Hopefully I will soon with a few books that I've got on the go. Watching a lot of Bones. It's like a comfort watch that it wasn't ever before. I watched it when it first came out in the mid 2000s, and I found it on Amazon Prime recently, so I've been rewatching that. Listening a bunch of different podcasts that I usually listen to. I have been, well, this weekend is my plan to catch up on lots of people's Bendigo vlogs because I didn't get to go. I am keen to try and make next year work. I need to sit down and figure out the school dates because it's always the first or second weekend that we go back to school, which is not great in terms of like I would have to take sick leave to go. But if you are interested, or you went and your friend group, or who, that sounds so juvenile, your group of people that you go with, if you think you've got a spare spot or wouldn't mind, if you let me know, that would be awesome, because I really would love to go and meet everyone and actually go and have that experience at some point in time soon. That's the goal. So yeah, leave me a comment if you think, I'm gonna probably have given it a crack by then anyway, but if you have any suggestions about the short row situation, maybe I'll just work on the blanket for a little bit and leave that. Or if you've got anything, you know, you're gonna try an Ed's animal. If you're new and you haven't seen them, my animals before, I actually have a video that I made a couple of years ago, my little series. It was like why you should make an Ed's animal. There's 2 parts to it. You could, if I remember, I'll link that video up here. But essentially, yeah, thank you for spending some time with me. I really appreciate you checking in when I check in. And yeah, I won't record hopefully on a school night or afternoon, and I'll sort the lighting out better for next time. See you on the internet. I'll see you when I see you.